Alrighty, welcome to our first edition, the initial episode of our new series called Sausage Talks, where we, and I say we, get down and dirty with the common man, common woman for today. We're going to be talking about some things that you do for a living, right? And if I have this right, you're a senior designer for what they call a design-build firm, correct? So for lack of a better term, you are an architecture firm for everybody out there that if people come in one-stop shop and they say, hey, I've got some money to burn, got this stuff in my pocket, I need to get rid of it, I've got a plot of land, you design it, and then you send it off to your construction crew, and they actually build it start to finish, correct?
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
Mostly.
And that's why we're here.
Mostly.
All right, so we have a litany of jobs out there, doctor, lawyer, banker, therapist, all that. We all know what they do. We get it, all right? But people don't know what the common man does in some of these more obscure jobs. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, okay? So without further ado, we'll get to this. And before we do, salute, all right? Our sponsor of the show, Fairfile Milk. Excellent product, quite excellent product.
It's Fair Life.
It's Fairfile.
Okay.
Because it comes from a file cabinet. All right, so first thing, I think everybody wants to know, do design firms and architectural firms, do y'all still make those little house models, little 3D model where you can take the roof off and look at all the floor plan and people can come in and really sink their teeth into what they're putting on the ground?
Architecture firms may, we do not. We do, but we do 3D, but it's in the computer. We model, do you know how you watch Joanna Gaines and she can...
The HGTV chick?
Yeah, like when she goes to present to the customer design idea,
Mm-hmm.
it's immersive and you do it like a fly through. That's what we do.
But don't you think that takes away something from, I don't think those models...
Touch it, yeah.
Because it would have been nice to have that model in your house. Right, and I think the kids would enjoy it more.
I always wanted to do that.
Yeah, so you've never done it in any part of your career. And where would you buy the materials that you would make that?
I guess
an art supply?
Probably, there's supplies for that, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you go online and it just makes architectural models?
I'm gonna need to Google it now, because I wanna build one.
Exactly. All right, time doesn't allow us to do that. Google stuff though, by the way.
Right.
We'll have to do that on your own time.
Next
question.
I will find out.
Do you agree with Lewis Sullivan that form does follow function?
Form follows function, yes.
How so?
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't want your form to dictate your function.
Oh, tell me more.
That was probably happens more than we think. If you go in and buy a
Are we still
house-
talking about architecture or life in general? we could pontificate a little deeper.
So if somebody went and bought a house and it was not the perfect, this is why people want to build their own custom home.
Sure.
So that their form would not dictate their function.
Right. And how many people, what percentage of people that build their own custom home later come back and are 100% pleased? Or is it more like, I love it, but I wish we had tweaked the pantry? You know?
That's why we do the 3D, the immersive.
That's what I'm saying, but even then they still go through with it and then they live in it and they're like, a 12 by 14 wasn't big enough, we needed a 13 by 15, that kind of thing. Like, does that ever come back where people are still like regretful that they didn't build a little bit bigger, a little bit taller, or whatever?
Maybe a little bit bigger. It's hard. One thing that's not perfect in the 3D world is scale.
Yeah.
Like I've had a lot of customers think when they're looking at their 3D model that it's not big enough.
It's like when guys build a garage, they'll tape out in the yard.
Yeah,
and then put their cars in and kind of look around.
Yeah.
It's hard to do with a house.
It's hard to judge it, and they think this isn't going to be big enough. And we've got a customer right now. They kept saying it's not going to be big enough. It's not, and now it's to the point. It's like a gymnasium. Their living room is going to be like a gym.
That's awesome.
Because it's
like vaulted wise.
25 feet tall.
That's a little excessive.
It's huge. There's just all vast open space, kitchen, living, dining, and they couldn't figure out. They couldn't realize how big it was going to be. And I kept saying it's going to be This is really big.
Now, if I correct me if I'm wrong, but you flew in from Texas yesterday to be here for this interview, right?
You are not wrong.
Okay, and now you're in North Carolina, and everything, as they say, is bigger in Texas.
And it is.
So do you think, and by those standards, this is not really going to be that big of a gymnasium living room?
It's huge.
So by Texas standards, it's a little excessive. But that's what America does, right?
And basically put their other house in their living room.
Why would you want to do that?
I'm just saying.
Oh, you're talking,
For reference.
not
scale
figuratively,
reference,
right.
yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this. Has anyone at your office, you've been with this particular firm how long?
3 years.
3 years. Has anyone ever eaten your lunch? And I don't mean figuratively. I mean
No.
literally, like
No.
gone in the refrigerator.
No,
and-
nobody's gone in and got my lunch.
Quick story to that, and the reason I asked that question is my mom, as a dental hygienist, started her first job, went in, put her lunch in the refrigerator on her first day of work, and one of the other hygienists ate her sandwich, half of her sandwich, so it still had bite marks on it, and she's like, the hell, you know? So that's why I asked. So it does happen.
The other one just thought somebody just randomly.
She called her out on it, and she acted like there was nothing wrong. Like, that's what we do. We eat the new girl's sandwich every day. Like, it was just the thing to do. So that's not okay. Well, some things are North Carolina, and some things are Texas. So yeah. Do you, when you go back to the drawing board, do you find that there is an actual drawing board to go back to, or is that just a completely figurative term of speech?
We do not have drawing boards anymore.
And these are just the boards. Do you remember Too Close for Comfort?
I have.
Remember the show Too Close for Comfort?
Who's in it?
If you hadn't asked, Ted Knight from Caddyshack, he had,
I feel like
it was like a 3-story condo in like San Francisco, and he was like a cartoonist, and he had the drawing board. That's what we're talking about, like the slanted board, right?
Right.
How long have we not
We
gone back to
used
the literal
work-
drawing
We
board?
used to work like that, I would say prior to 2000.
So we haven't gone back to the drawing board since 9/11, basically.
Oh, yeah.
I think the people need to know that. That's good. All right, so let me ask you, who's your favorite movie architect? And if you don't have any in mind, I've got a list that I can give you. So you tell me.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
In One Fine Day, okay. Is
That's
this
where I
the
wanted-
typical, like, you know, lawyers like watch, you know, Joe Pesci and what is a Ute movie? I can't even think of it right now. But like every like, you know, if you're a NASCAR driver, you
You
love
wanna
Days
watch
of
it
Thunder.
on the screen.
Right, right.
What
Is
you
that-
do, you wanna see it on the screen.
Yeah, I've seen that movie, but it's been
I
forever.
love it. I love what she does on there.
Do you think
So-
she's attractive?
I do.
I don't. I think she's one of those leading ladies that's not as
I think
attractive as
she's
people think she is. Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think she was very good in that movie where she's supposed to be some tough guy in inner city school. I wasn't impressed. She didn't scare me.
What was that called? I don't remember.
Coolio's movie.
And what song comes from that movie?
The Coolio song. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Let me ask you this.
Kinda does.
Is-
But it's not stuck in my head.
One Fine Day, is that that's your bar?
That's my
Let me
favorite,
give
my
you a
favorite.
couple to
That's-
pick from to see if any of them strike your fancy more than Michelle Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer, as it's pronounced in England. Matthew Broderick in The Cable Guy. He was an architect. You know that? Cable Guy, right? Matt Dillon has 2 openings. He was an architect, a fake architect in Something About Mary, and he was also an architect in Me, Dupree, You and Me, or Molly and Me, Marley and Me, whatever the heck the name of that movie was. Charles Bronson in Death Wish. Do you know this? He was an architect. Yeah, he's out killing people at night or whatever, you know, being a vigilante on the street, protecting the world. Tom Selleck in 3 Men and a Baby. Anybody?
He was an architect in
Yes. Are we still with Michelle Pfeiffer?
This
We're
is
on.
before, you know what, these are happening before I was actually, and
So it goes to
I'm
what
not
you
an
know.
architect, so.
But it's that world, is what I'm
Yes,
saying.
it's the architecture world
Mm-hmm.
that I am not licensed.
Woody Harrelson in Indecent Proposal. Right. Remember that with Demi Moore, where Robert Redford wants to bang his wife for $1 million in the casino?
Okay, I remember.
And you know what I don't like about the movie?
That part.
Is, you know, you remember when that movie came out, right? He's like, hey, I'll give you $1 million for one night with your wife. And they're like broke, dead broke. He's like a struggling architect. He's trying to get his stuff out there and whatnot. And so they're like, we really need the money, but I really like not having sex with other women, you know, or other men having sex with my wife. So it's just a struggle. And and that's the whole gist of it. It's like, would you do it? Would you not do it? You know what?
It's
Everybody
a question.
ignores about that. It's not a question. It's in the title. It's an indecent proposal.
Yes.
I think if they'd have
But
named
would you
it,
agree to it?
I think if they'd have named it like, what would you do? Then yeah, now we've got a question. But they already answered it. It's indecent. No, he shouldn't do it. It's not the decent thing to do.
But it's still a proposal.
I
It's
get
not a
that.
contract
That makes sense.
yet.
Right.
So
Right.
it's still a proposal.
But
so
it's
you don't
a
know.
leading question.
It's leading, and
Okay.
you don't know the answer by the title.
Right.
So it is that is the question that nobody knows how they would do it, what they would do in that situation.
Oh, I would totally do it. There's enough layers of bodily protection that $1 million could go a lot further, than it needs to go. I mean,
$1 million isn't enough anymore. I think it had to.
I think it's totally fine.
It'd have to be 2 million.
I think it would be fine.
Double.
Yeah. Well, we all have our boundaries, don't we? How about Tom Hanks' Sleepless in Seattle? See, I thought that would be your pick. Girls love Sleepless in Seattle. I don't know why. Doesn't make any dang sense how a 9-year-old can hook people up across the country, but whatever.
See, I never picked up that he was an architect.
Yeah. Well, some of these, if you didn't know them, it's not really a huge part of the
It's
plot.
very
It's
remote
just
part.
right. How about Henry Fonda in 12 Angry Men? Now, there's one you don't
I
think
never
about.
saw that movie.
You never seen 12 Angry Men? Oh, it's a great little. It's a classic
I'm forming
movie.
a list.
All right. Well, so we're still with Team Pfeiffer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Fair
Wait,
enough.
no. Okay. Lake House
Lake House. What's that?
is about a whole architectural firm, and that, as well as, was the movie where, I can't remember the name. It's Steve Martin is an architect though in it.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's complicated.
It's complicated.
It's a great movie.
That's also
Great movie.
I
Everybody
love
should
that.
watch it. It's complicated. Alec
I love
Baldwin
that
before he
one.
was
I
shooting
love the
people.
way he,
Yeah, it's good.
and they go out and they do a mock-up.
Yeah,
And
in the
he
backyard.
yeah.
He puts her up on a ladder.
Yeah.
See, this is
This
your
is
blah blah
how
blah.
you're-
Yeah, that was
I
kind
love
of
that.
architect ain't gonna have an 8-foot ladder.
No.
Ain't got a vehicle to put it in. I think my favorite one, and I could be wrong, but I think he was an architect. I like Kevin Kline in my life. He's dying of cancer, and he's got the house, and they just deconstruct it. I think he was an architect. Yeah, he was an architect because he goes in and smashes all his. Wouldn't you love to go in and smash all your 3D buildings when you get mad at your boss and you're like, I'm out, and he just trashes everything because they were his designs. Anyway,
Except
all right.
I don't have 3D buildings. Remember, everything is
That's what I'm saying.
allowed.
If you did, but he did in that movie. He had a ton of them.
Yeah.
What is your favorite architectural city in America?
My experience is limited, but Fort Worth is amazing.
Really? How so?
Oh, the architecture is so, the buildings are just sit downtown and you just look down the street and all the cornices and everything, just phenomenal.
So do you have a favorite style or
Um,
period? Or am I putting you on the spot? Because you didn't know any of these
Because
questions were coming.
I love all of it. So, a favorite.
Mine is Albany, New York. Phenomenal. The Empire State Plaza, the Government Plaza, the Capitol at the end, the Egg Building, and the what is it, the Cornelius or the Corning Tower and all that stuff. And it's got a what do you call it, a reflection pool. Everything's brutalist architecture. I love brutalist.
Really? Brutalist.
Yes. Brutalist is awesome. Everything's just like exposed concrete and just really raw, and that's my favorite. I think all cities should be built on that. We should just start over and everything be. But plus, the word brutalist is not used enough. I mean, if you were to
Sounds
date
like
a guy
steampunk
that
to
was
me.
described by your friends as, oh, you gotta meet this guy. He's such a brutalist. Would that be a good or a bad thing? Do you feel like you're gonna be battered or have a good time?
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
right,
leave him
right.
alone.
But in architecture, that's not a bad thing. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Do you think that if you went to work with your eyebrows completely shaved off, that they would write a new policy the next day?
I do.
Really?
It would be before the next day, yeah.
Okay. And because I assume there's no policy. I wrote that question
There
assuming
is
that there
no
is no policy.
policy at the
Do
moment.
you think it would? You come in at like 8:30 in the morning, let's say. How long before it would get to the top of the office that Renee has shaved all of her eyebrows off, and we need to address this?
I get there at 8, by 8:10.
Someone has noticed.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you wear glasses like that all the time, right?
yes.
And that's not going to hide anything.
It would hide it for a minute, and my
For-
hair
yeah.
might,
It'd be.
but.
They would think you lost one in a weed eater accident, but then when that flipped back, yeah. Okay, so for sure there's a new policy. Do you think that would be awkward as it grew back in over the next? Because as you age, hair grows back slower, so it'd probably take you 2-3
It
months.
might not ever grow back.
Rest of
actually.
summer. Yeah, you ain't got eyebrows all summer.
My eyebrows would not probably grow back at all.
So yeah, so that would be an awkward period. Would you just mark them in?
I'd have to mark them in.
Yeah, and that's not a good look for anybody. Yeah. Okay, moving
It
on.
wouldn't matter unless I'm meeting with a customer, but I do that often, so, yeah, there'd be a policy.
Who is your typical client, do you think?
Someone wanting to retire, a couple wanting to retire. Usually they are moving to my area from somewhere else in the country.
How do they find somebody like you?
The internet.
As opposed to just a builder?
Intranets.
Really? That's all it is.
And
Like, are you a part of a bigger national chain kind of thing? Or are y'all independent deal?
We're independent, but the city, I think they probably ask around. There is a builders association in town. Probably ask them for references. We've won awards, People's Choice Awards for every single year for, I think we're up to 18 years.
Oh yeah? Nice.
Yeah.
So word gets around.
So it's a
Word gets around that you want a nice house with people who can design it well and have eyebrows and don't look weird. They don't look like they're always shocked when they're looking at you.
They can look on the interwebs and see that we have eyebrows.
Yeah, I think that's important in today's
It
world.
is. It's off-putting.
What is your most expensive home that your firm, not necessarily you, but have designed, more or less?
Oh boy, we are in the middle of one.
Oh yeah?
It's gonna be the big one.
$2 million?
It's gonna be.
Because we're in the Dallas area or the Houston area. What's the main?
East of the Dallas area.
So close enough, we'll call it Dallas Fort Worth.
Right.
So $2 million.
But we're also not that far from Houston, so, and that's where many of our people come from and retire in our area. But, it's gonna be over
$6 million. How many square feet are we talking? 11,000.
This is gonna be, I believe it's not gonna be more than 9,000.
Do you feel like when you design houses like that, you should base your commission on square footage?
That would be great. That would be great. But this one has so many covered porches and areas outside, the inner living areas outside that.
White people love a covered porch.
Oh man.
See how I knew who was buying this house? You can tell when you throw a covered porch around. That's all you need right there.
Everybody loves it, but
I don't love it. I like a
right
patio
this
guy.
time.
So what is the most unnecessary, in your opinion, because I'm sure it wasn't to them since they're paying for it, request that you've ever had that people wanted into their house that you're designing?
Okay. This one couple wanted
Wanted or got?
they got
Okay.
a vat, a fish frying vat built into their kitchen cabinet.
I like the cut of these people's jib.
It was massive. It wasn't like the little Fry Daddies.
Yeah.
This was a commercial fryer built into their kitchen cabinet.
The Fry Daddy was the little round thing, right? That you sit on your counter.
I mean, it had a basket like about
Yeah,
this size.
I ruined one of those because it had a little plastic lid, and my mom had fish fried when I was a kid, and I went and put the lid on it, and melted right into the oil. She was pissed because apparently it's difficult to get all that oil because you have to like accumulate it over time and whatnot.
Yeah,
because you
the
save it,
seasons
right?
and stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of like a cast iron skillet. You don't, once that thing, you don't wash that thing. You wipe it out and put it on somewhere. I don't know, whatever. Let me ask you this. How strong of a connection do you need before you approach and go forward with the office romance? Could be a trick question.
Connection. Oh, I think it would need to be pretty strong because you would be crossing some lines.
But at the same time, if a dude is interested in you from across the office and you don't have eyebrows, you got to figure that's a guy that's pretty open to anything, right?
That's gonna test.
Like he's into you for you, right?
You
know what I mean?
The connection, yeah.
Because I mean, think of you like this. You're like, hey, I'm over here designing, and he's like, look at her, look at that no eyebrow having design freak. Yep. Okay, so it's possible, but it's got to be.
Test. What you know?
Yeah, it's
if
a
I
litmus
thought mine
test.
would grow back, I would think that would be.
I think it's a great litmus test. Yeah, that's good. That's good. If you were to tie one on at the bar, stay out pretty late on a Tuesday night. You get in 2 or 3, and before you even get in, you end up at a Denny's with like a grand slam dinner. And the next morning, your stomach is not agreeing with you at all. What kind of bathroom situation, affordability, privacy setting does your office afford you?
Oh.
Or is it one of these? I forgot my eyebrow pen at the house. I've got to run to the house. Yeah, is it that? Is it? Are we
I
going
might
home
go
or are we
home.
staying at the office?
We have nice facilities, but the sound carries.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in a
Something
design
like
build
that,
firm,
I might go home.
I'm sure it's floor to ceiling tile, right? You can't have, just cheap.
No,
No?
but I feel like the men's restroom is really well sound insulated.
That's
but
not illegal in
the
Texas.
women's
You
is
can use
not.
either one. Texas doesn't care.
I'm
Okay, fair enough.
not
Fair enough.
doing
All right. Do you think that Frank Lloyd Wright and his stupid I might have tainted the question there, but his stupid Fallingwater house that he has up in Pennsylvania, wherever it's at, is overrated? Because everybody contends that that's the most beautiful house ever created.
No. I'm
don't?
a fan of Frank Lloyd
Oh.
Wright. I let my coworker probably would be along the same lines as you.
Good. I like the cut of her jib.
Him.
Does she have a fry daddy in her kitchen?
He might have a Friday, but
I don't think they sell
he
fry
doesn't
daddies
like
anymore.
Frank Lloyd.
See, I don't like. I am a Richard Morris Hunt fan.
I'm not familiar with that.
He built the Biltmore House in Asheville, North Carolina. He
Oh,
did.
you like the
Oh, I like the chateau style.
Yeah, okay.
He did all the Biltmore stuff. He did Manhattan mansions. He did
Okay.
pretty much everything in Newport, Rhode Island. All that stuff, just brilliant, right? And when you compare him to some dude that built a house next to a waterfall and a rock, what's the big deal, man?
Well, you've got your clean lines that are pulling
Hate a
off
clean line.
It's pulling off the environment it's complementing where it's at. It's blending in, trying to blend into the environment.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about something that's fully architecturally getting its own pop from its own design.
All right, I'll give you that. I'll
Like
allow it.
All the carvings and all.
And you know what else I don't like about that Fallingwater? I mean, it's considered the benchmark of design and architecture, and it was built in like the 30s. It took him 3 years to build that. I feel like it would take me like 2 months to learn the program, and I can just whip that up right now.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
you
saying.
probably could, because simplicity is a lot of that. That's what.
I like complexity. That's why I like the
That's
chateau.
what
I like the
that's what I'm
gargoyles and all that stuff. It's
The
just
gargoyles
awesome.
and
Slate roof, just that.
Gotham.
Oh
I
man.
would love Gotham.
Yes, it would. That would be someone should build Gotham as a city, like in Montana. People would move there then.
Frisco City Hall
Mhm.
looks like Gotham City.
Yeah.
And it's got the big thing that looks like it's coming open in the light where the light comes through. It's got all of that. You
That's
gotta look
cool.
it up
Oh, I'll be looking
or
at it.
go there.
I think I know what you're talking about, quite frankly. But
It's
quite frank, Lloyd Wright. Anyway, what is the one thing that you would tell someone that was getting into the design, build, architecture world in today's world that no one ever told you?
I'm not saying, I don't know that nobody ever told me, but I feel like what helped me the most was being married to a builder. So I
You
was
saw it
in
from
the
both
field a
sides,
lot.
right.
Yeah, I was in the field a lot. I don't think you can really properly design if you don't know what's behind these walls,
Mm-hmm.
what's inside.
There's dirt behind these walls. We're in a basement.
Just pictures.
Right.
And no clearances. You need to know basics, like how wide should a hallway be? What's the minimum?
I'll tell you, whatever the minimum is, add 12 inches, because when you move a couch or a bed,
When you're pivoting,
pivot,
pivoting a
right.
couch and or
Yes.
a bed and you're
Yes.
trying to get down into a bedroom that's down a hall, has a whole 90-degree turn or 180, and you're trying to move kind of stuff like that, or upstairs and in.
Yep. I'm also a fan of 36-inch doors for bedrooms and bathrooms,
Mhm.
because when you design and redo your bathroom and you decide, hey, I want to go with a prefab or a fiberglass tub, you can't get it in there. You gotta take the door jamb off to get the thing out, and then you're lucky if you are.
'Cause
As
they
opposed to
bring
having a
those-
36 and you can just shoot
Yeah.
it on in there and put something completely new in there, but.
Cause
Well,
they
that's
bring
good.
those things in before the houses are
Right,
completely
right,
framed,
yeah,
so
that's like the
they
first
don't
thing.
care.
And, what do they do? A lot of people don't know this, little known fact in the industry. What, the tub goes in, they frame around it and everything, and what does everybody do from then on out? They piss in it. It becomes a public urine trough, yeah. So,
Seriously.
yeah, you don't wanna just take a nice soak in your brand new house until you've, fabulosoed your tub, so, yeah. Fiberglass, doesn't
Bleach.
stain, thankfully, but yes.
Bleach.
So that's all the questions I got for our senior designer at the Design Build, Renee. It was fairly painless, yeah? How was the milk?
The milk is great.
All right.
And
Well, that's all we got for our first episode of Sausage Talks. Again.